Right, before we continue with our buttons there, we are going to get some third parties to install Firebase and other third-party code that we are going to use for our application. So close your project, then open the terminal. You can use either the search, or this is the easiest way, or you go to your applications and open the terminal there. So once you open the terminal, you need to say cd, and you are going to go to the place where your application folder is saved. Mine is on desktop, so I'm going to say desktop, and this is case sensitive. Once you write half of the word, click tab, it will autocomplete if there are no any other folders with same name. Hit enter. So now we are in our desktop directory, and I say cd again, which is change directory, and I say chat and hit tab. I have only one folder with this name, so it auto-completes. Hit enter again. Now we are inside our folder here. To find it out, we can say ls, hit enter, and it shows me what I have in my chat folder. So if I open, you can see I have two things, an iChat folder and then iChat Xcode project. So we are in the right place. Now what I'm going to say pod init. Before you do this, make sure you have CocoaPods installed. If you haven't, go check the start project video how to install the CocoaPods. So say pod init, hit enter, and now it has created a pod file. So if I open my folder here, you can see there is a pod file, new pod file we just created. Now I say open pod file, hit enter, and it will open the pod file in your text reader, or you can just double click on the pod file here. So what we are going to do right here under use frameworks, we are going to write the pods we are going to use for our application. So I'm going to copy and paste this. This is the Firebase database pod, Firebase core, Firebase authentication, Firebase storage, and Firebase Firestore. These are the 5 pods that we are going to add from Firebase. Also, we are going to add some other pods, so let me copy and paste this as well. The progress HUD we are going to show to our user notifications on the screen, like when there is an error or there is something successful, we are going to show the user. MB progress bar, this is used, it's like a loading bar when we are sending video or audio or picture messages, so we're going to use this. IQ audio recorder controller, this is used for recording audio messages. And also we are going to use 3 more pods. So let me copy and paste this. And we have JSQ messages view controller, and here we are specifying the version we are using of this pod. If you are familiar with JSQ messages view controller, you may know that it's deprecated. Yes, there will be no more updates for JSQ messages view controller, but the version we are using, 7.3.3, is a stable version, so it's pretty good. There are no errors or whatsoever, so it's stable version. We can use it for our project. Imagine if Apple tomorrow decides to no longer update the iOS. Doesn't mean you have to throw your phone. The software is there, you can still use. This is the reason I'm using JSQ messages view controller. Another reason is there are nothing out there right now even close to JSQ messages view controller for the chat purpose. So for this purpose, we are going to use the JSQ messages view controller. And we have IDM photo browser. This is when we were clicking on the image icons, images on the chat, and it was displaying on a separate view. This is IDM photo browser. Image picker, you may have noticed when we were choosing a picture for our profile or for a group chat profile, we were displayed with the camera and a nice image picker there. So this is the image picker that we are going to use. Okay, so this is it for now. Command S to save the file. You can close this, and if you have closed the terminal before, go again, open the terminal, cd to desktop, then cd your project folder, and now we are going to say pod install. Hit enter. This will take some time to install all the pods that we have included in our pod file, so I'm going to pause it here and resume once everything is installed. Okay, mine is done. It took about 5 minutes. Well, it always depends what your internet speed is. If you don't have a fast internet, it will take much longer. I don't have really good internet, so here it is, 5-6 minutes it took. Once it's done, you can see in green what type of pods it was installed, and you can see some information here that from now on we have to use the Xcode Workspace instead of the Xcode project. So go ahead and close this. Keep your chat folder open, your project folder. You can see we have a new file here, the white one, which is Xcode Workspace. From now on, we are going to open our application using this icon. So double tap on it. Let me close this folder here. So this will open my newly built application. Enlarge this nicely. And let's go to our view here. So we have a new folder here. It's called pods, and under the folder here you can see all the dependencies here that were installed to our project. So the next thing, we are going to close this one, and let's go to our welcome view controller. Right now, in order to use our login and our register button, every time our user clicks on them, let's open this. When the user clicks on them, we want to clean all these 3 text fields. So whatever text we have there, we want to get rid of them. In order to do this, we are going to create another function, and I'm going to put here a mark, and I'm going to call this helper functions, and the first one is going to be func dismiss keyboard. This function doesn't take any parameters here and doesn't return any parameters. So all this function is going to do is to dismiss our keyboard. So we say self.view.endEditing, and force, we say false. We don't want to force it. Then we need another function which is going to say clean text fields. Again, it doesn't take any parameter and doesn't return anything. So all this is going to do is to access our 3 text fields there. So we say email text field.text is equals to empty string, password text field.text is equals to empty string, and repeat password text field.text is equals to empty text field. So this is our helper functions that we are going to use. Okay, so in our tab background here, we have a handy function now called dismiss keyboard, so we can call it, say, dismiss keyboard, and this will take care of our keyboard. Then we have register button and login button. So every time we click these buttons, we want first to dismiss keyboard, and same for our register button. And then we are going to do all our checks. So let's quickly run our project after we put it all our pods there, so everything will be built, and we will see if there are any errors with our installed pods here. So as you can see, it's building 79 of 1938, so it's quite long. I'm going to pause the video again until everything gets built. Okay, my build finished, and there is a failed result here, and once I click on this, I can see that all the errors are from our image picker. The reason of this is let's go there. It's 38 errors. The reason is because we have a new Xcode here with the new Swift version, and you can see here some of the errors. It shows that you can simply click fix. But since this is a third-party library and it's not ready yet for the Swift 4.2, the easiest way is going to leave this third party for now, and we are going to get back to this later when we really need this, and if it's not fixed by the time, because the developer of this library is going to update it anytime soon, because the new Swift version was released a few days ago. So by the time you watch this video, maybe you will not have this error. What I'm going to do is actually close my project, go to my folder here, open the pod file, and in front of where is it, image picker, I'm going to put this hash sign here, same as we have here on top, to comment it out. I'm going to save this, and I'm going to open terminal, say cd desktop, cd my project folder, and say pod install. And what this will do is go through my pod file and remove, you see, remove image picker. And once it's done, it's not going to touch anything else because we just installed everything and it's generated, everything is fine. We're not going to spend a lot of time there. Well, let's give it a few seconds, and it's done here. I'm going to close my pod file here and reopen my project. So let's say Command P to build the project again and see if we are getting the errors now. What we did is basically remove this library from our project, and we will put it back once it gets updated. Anyway, we are not going to use this until the middle of the project, so we can hang up with this for now. Let's give it a few seconds to build the application again. So my compiler finished, and as you can see, the build was successful. So everything went fine now without this image picker. So in our next lecture, we are going to continue building our functions for our buttons.